Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world. So, for many years, sociologists and psychologists have explored the age-old question, how can parents raise healthy and responsible children and children who are likely to stay out of alcohol and drugs and delinquent behavior? And certainly, this has been the question for parents for hundreds of years. And I'll give you one example that every parent knows. One of the most powerful risk factors is if your teen is hanging around with a group of teens that use drugs. Then it's only a matter of time until your teen starts using them too. And it doesn't matter if your teen is a boy or a girl or an athlete or scholar, it's only a matter of time. You see, there are three types of pressure on teens: parental pressure, which works great until they hit those teen years, then peer pressure, which is more powerful than an earthquake, then media pressure, which starts to hit in the late teen years. Together, they have great influence over the thoughts, feelings, and actions of your teens, and neither rationale or common sense or discipline seems to be able to correct this if it is negative peer pressure in essence. Well, to tell the truth, there are no absolutes, no guarantees that your children will always grow into responsible, conscientious, mature, loving, and caring adults. But research has shown that there are certain risk factors that can lead into high risk behaviors and ultimately into long term patterns of problematic behaviors that can certainly have lifelong negative consequences. And to the degree that parents can identify these risk factors in advance and prevent them, or at least mitigate them in their children, then ultimately they have a distinct advantage in the raising of healthy children, responsible teenagers, and watching them grow into becoming mature adults. And that is the only thing that parents really want: the health, safety, and welfare of your child. So, what are these factors, these risk factors that need to be monitored and addressed? Well, there are several that have been identified, and together they are a combination of personality traits and social and environmental factors that can ultimately have strong negative influences on your teen. First are certain personality traits. Now, research has shown that these primary traits are more highly related to high risk behaviors and the types of behaviors that lead to more negative behaviors and negative outcomes for youth: impulsiveness and impulsive risk taking, novelty and sensation seeking, especially thrill seeking, rebelliousness, not having attachment or bonding to the family or to other positive, significant adults, and not having a sound moral compass or an understanding for morality, perhaps religion or other related spiritual goals, or truly knowing and internalizing the differences between right and wrong. Research shows that these traits are highly associated with high risk behaviors, and as such, they are behaviors that are self sabotaging, self destructive, and lead to both short term and long term negative consequences. For instance, take a look at impulsive behavior. Now, everyone needs to be able to take risks in life. Risk taking is an essential ingredient for experience, to learn, grow, and develop. In fact, a person who habitually avoids risks because of anxiety or fear may actually stagnate in the overall maturation process. But there is a major critical difference between taking a calculated risk and impulsive risk taking. A calculated risk is one that is thought out in advance, logical and balanced, with little chance for harm or negative repercussions, whereas impulsivity, sensation seeking, and novelty are traits that have a strong correlation with negative outcomes. Such traits, researchers believe, also have a negative predictive value for long term problems and poor success in life. Risk and protective factors have well been documented, and these traits seem to underlie teenagers doing highly problematic behaviors such as drinking, smoking, using drugs, early onset of sex, not going to school, not doing homework, and even dropping out of school, and even a variety of illegal behaviors, especially delinquent and criminal behavior. Now, again, all teens may demonstrate some degree of risky behavior on an occasional or episodic level, and certainly kids have done ridiculous things. That's what growing up is all about. But there are several risk factors that may be predictive of future problems for teens, and these following traits, if they turn into patterns of behavior, can indicate lifelong negative behaviors, especially where they become self sabotaging and dysfunctional behaviors for teens and then later as adults. So, parents should watch for these following traits and don't encourage them, and steer your teens away from these traits overall. The teen tends to be an impulsive person in many ways. The teen tends not to make careful, deliberate decisions, but rather emotional, spontaneous decisions. The teen tends to have friends who are unpredictable or uninhibited or frequently into trouble. The teen tends to do things for thrills or excitement or for new sensations, even if they are frightening or dangerous. The teen tends to act spontaneously and live for the here and now rather than understanding and working toward long term goals. And here are 10 other risk factors that can negatively influence your teens. When youth have parents or friends that don't think that drinking, drug use, profanity, mischief, dropping out of school, or early onset of sex is harmful, or even are favorable and approve of these behaviors, it places a subtle pressure on them to do those very things. For instance, the classic example, again, is profanity. If parents swear, curse, or get angry easily, you can bet your child will follow suit and maybe even start at an earlier age. Children emulate their parents. Second, as we said, when they have parents or friends who use drugs or are involved in criminal or antisocial behaviors, they tend to emulate those people. Third, when teens are in a high accessibility and availability environment for alcohol and drugs or other related behaviors, again, it makes it so easy to use, even if they're consciously committed not to. Fourth, where there is a lack of supervision and rules and responsible child rearing, teens are more likely to engage in the wrong behaviors. Fifth, where there is a lack of attachment or bonding in families, teens are more prone to step away from the norms. Sixth, where there is a family history of antisocial behavior and especially continued family conflict, teens are more likely to seek relief in other irresponsible ways. Seventh, where there is a lack of social skills. Teens sometimes don't understand propriety and the reasons for expected behaviors. Eighth, where there is little commitment to school. Teens often lose sight of long term goals and the ethic of work and postponing instant gratification to achieve a long term outcome. Ninth, where children that are subjected to constant abuse, neglect, or maltreatment, even emotional and verbal abuse, they are more likely to show signs of juvenile delinquency and even criminal behavior before age 25. And 10th, where teens do not have a belief in moral order, then, well, it's just hard for them to accept that there's a greater purpose in life, a higher order, a higher power that we should all ascribe to. Risk factors, then, are personal, social, and environmental attributes that can act as influences on youth in a negative manner. They increase the chances or opportunities to use alcohol, tobacco, other drugs, or to become involved with self sabotaging and self defeating behaviors, such as failing or dropping out of school. And of course, the more risk factors present, the greater the risk for your teen. Risk factors show a great deal of consistency in their effects across different races, cultures, socioeconomic classes, and both sexes. The key for parents is to do everything possible to try to reduce and eliminate the risk factors, or at least buffer them to mitigate their influence and to give our children the best possible chances at growing up to become healthy, responsible, and family oriented individuals. Hey, be safe, be well, spend time with your children, and may God bless.